Do you know how much Zoro respects Sanji? Or what about Judge? How much does Sanji's own father respect him? Well, that's exactly what we're going to break down in today's video. We'll be giving each character a percentage of how much they respect Sanji, starting with the ones who have the least respect and working our way up to the ones who have the most. So let's get right into it, and first up, we've got Toei Animation, because these guys have absolutely 0% respect for Sanji. Yeah, seriously, they absolutely hate the guy. Need proof? Well, for example, in the anime, they made Sanji literally turn into a dog for Stussy, but not in the manga. Then they straight up removed him from the scene where we can literally see everyone else after capturing York. And remember Sanji's fight with S-Shark? Yeah, well, in the anime, S-Shark grabbed and tosses Sanji away. But in the manga, he fights S-Shark with no problem at all. And don't forget when Marco says, "Here comes the star" in the anime, where we see Zoro show up and go in for the attack at Onigashima. But in the manga, Marco actually says, "Time for the stars to take the stage," plural, and we see both Zoro and Sanji attacking. So yeah, Toei absolutely hates Sanji and clearly has 0% respect for him. But someone who does respect Sanji, well, at least at 1%, is Queen. And honestly, Queen literally only respected Sanji because he was Judge's son. Yeah, Queen is obsessed with Judge's Germatech, because Queen and Judge actually used to work together at MADS, the wild science group that even Vegapunk was part of. That's why he kept calling Sanji Judge's son. But when Sanji smashed his raid suit, Queen lost it. He started to hate Sanji and wanted to take him down. Too bad for Queen though, as Sanji lit him up with his Ifrit Jinbe. Moving on, let's talk about Absilon, at 5%. Now you probably thought he'd have 0% respect for Sanji after he totally wrecked his wedding plans with Nami and kicked his ass. But these two actually bonded over Nami's beauty. Yeah, seriously. For a moment they both thought Nami looked like a literal goddess and angel, and they completely forgot they were enemies. But yeah, he does still hate Sanji for ruining his wedding with Nami. So instead, let's talk about Black Maria, who's got 6% respect for Sanji. When she first captured him, she actually liked his rough attitude and thought it was hot. But after tying him up and beating the crap out of him to lure out Robin, she started to respect his loyalty and chivalry when he refused to call for help and refused to fight back. But then Sanji did call for Robin, and just like that, the respect she had for Sanji was gone. Still, she actually wanted to keep Sanji as her pet, just to torture him for fun and use him as her personal toy. Alright, now we've got Sanji's brothers, Ichiji, Niji, and Yonji at 10%. Yeah, we all know these three hated Sanji growing up. They thought he was weak, bullied him constantly, and they absolutely loved beating him down just because he had emotions. But on Whole Cake Island, things changed a lot. As after seeing Sanji's kicks and how he saved their lives, they had no choice but to acknowledge his insane strength and respect him a little bit. Like Ichiji even covered for him by attacking Oven, and all three later helped the Straw Hats escape. So why only 10%? Well sure, Sanji saved their lives, but despite their actions, they're basically still emotionless, empathy-deficient cyborgs who still don't see him as an equal. But talking about the Vinsmoke family, we of course gotta talk about Sanji's father, Vinsmoke Judge, who's got 12% respect for his son. When Sanji was a kid and didn't awaken his genetic powers, Judge saw him as a failure, disgrace, and waste of air. And he literally locked poor Sanji in a dungeon for half a year. Then, when Sanji tried to escape, Judge actually let him go. No, not because he's a kind person, but because he figured Sanji would die on his own. So when he then found out Sanji was actually still alive, he forced him into a political marriage with Big Mom's daughter for his own gain. And even after Sanji showed off how strong he'd become, Judge still told him he didn't see him as his son. However, when Sanji saved his life, Judge did start to respect him. Well, a little. Like he helped Sanji and the Straw Hats escape, gave him the raid suit, and swore to never step foot in East Blue again. Again, not because he's a nice guy, but because he couldn't stand owing a failure a debt. Anyway, next up, we've got Eva Ivankov at 70%. When they first met, Eva didn't trust Sanji at all. I mean, she literally showed him his own wanted poster, and Sanji refused to admit it was him. But yeah, as Sanji actually spent 2 full years at Kamabaka Kingdom, he's spent more time with Eva than any of the Straw Hats. Crazy, right? Anyway, after training for 2 years and surviving bride training boot camp, Eva saw and respected how much stronger Sanji had become, and he also helped him return to Saba Odi. That said, Eva was not happy when he found out Sanji was actually a Vinsmoke and hadn't told him. Finally, we've got one of the Straw Hats, and that Straw Hat is Franky, who's at 80%. Franky sees Sanji as one of the crew's best fighters and really respects Sanji for protecting everyone. But yeah, Franky's not a fan of Sanji's constant simping. Like back at Thriller Bark when Sanji didn't care about Chopper or Usopp disappearing and only wanted to find Nami, Franky wasn't impressed. And in Wano, instead of helping gather samurai, which he was supposed to do, Sanji was too busy making soba noodles to impress women. Still, Franky knows Sanji's got his back and respects him as a crewmate. Now, a character I know you've been waiting for, and that's Nami. And she's got 85% respect for Sanji. Yeah, she bosses him around, takes advantage of his hopeless love for her, and even punches him in the face when he's being a creep. Still, she respects and cares about him a lot. Like Nami was straight up heartbroken and cried her eyes out when Sanji left the crew. And she genuinely respects his chivalry as he would never hit a woman, no matter what, and Nami seriously values that part of him. That said, Sanji can't be higher than 85%, because Nami absolutely hates how Sanji's always being a creep. Like she literally called him the least trustworthy crew member after he used his raid suit to sneak into the bathhouse at Wano. And during Whole Cake Island, when he insulted Luffy's dream and kicked him, Nami was ready to cut ties with him completely. So Sanji definitely gives her a headache, but she does genuinely respect and care about him. Continuing with the Straw Hats, let's talk about Jinbe at 90%. Jinbe respects Sanji as part of the Straw Hat crew, recognizes Sanji's strength, and admires how loyal Sanji is to Luffy. He also appreciates Sanji for helping out at Fishman Island. And if you didn't know, these two actually make a really good tag team, like we saw when they took down Watatsumi, and again when they fought side by side against the Beast Pirates. Moving up to 95%, we got another Straw Hat, this time it's Brooke. These two actually have a really strong bond as the Creeper duo, as they both know the struggles of trying to chase after Nami and Robin's affection. They even roasted Momo when his special treatment from Nami was officially over now that he looks like an adult. But jokes aside, Brooke genuinely respects Sanji, and he's amazed by Sanji's insane strength. He also joined the Sanji retrieval team because he felt responsible for Sanji leaving the crew. And don't forget when Brooke stood up to Big Mom and straight up told her he was fighting for Sanji, calling him a kind man who sacrifices himself for others. Staying at 95% and with the Straw Hats, we've got Chopper. Now, even though Sanji literally wanted to cook and eat him and still calls him emergency food, Chopper looks up to Sanji like an older brother. Sanji was one of the first people who made Chopper feel accepted, not like a monster. He admires Sanji's strength, bravery, and cool-headedness, and when things get scary, you can probably spot Chopper hiding behind him. And we can all see how much Chopper really cares about Sanji at Fishman Island, when Sanji almost died from losing so much blood over the mermaids. Yeah, not his best moment. Anyway, Chopper was panicking, crying, and doing everything in his power to save him. So yeah, Chopper respects and cares about Sanji a lot. And someone else who also respects Sanji at 95% is Usopp. Like, Usopp has literally asked Sanji to be his bodyguard because that's how much he respects his strength. He's also super grateful for all the times Sanji has saved his life, like when Sanji took a lightning bolt from Enel to protect him, or when he saved him from Jabra. Sanji has also helped boost Usopp's self-worth, like he reminded him that even though Sanji might be stronger in a fight, only Usopp could have saved Robin at that moment at Enies Lobby, and that meant a lot to him. So Usopp truly respects him as a friend, fighter, and crewmate. Now, let's talk about Viola, because she's got 99% respect for Sanji. Honestly, I would have given her the full 100%, since Sanji helped save her country, was literally the first guy that treated her with kindness. And oh, don't forget that she totally blushed thinking back on their time together. So she clearly respects and cares about him a lot, and she was genuinely touched by how he believed in her even after she betrayed him. But yeah, here's the thing. After using her glare fruit to dive into Sanji's mind, she didn't just see how kind and trusting he is, she also saw how absolutely dirty his mind is. So as she's literally scarred for life after diving into Sanji's mind, she just can't be at 100%. But someone who is at 100% is Sanji's captain, Monkey D. Luffy. After Sanji left the crew at Zou, we all saw just how far Luffy was willing to go to bring him back. He literally said he couldn't become Pirate King without Sanji, and even almost starved himself to death, just to prove how much he needed him. So, do I even need to say more than that? That's absolutely 100% respect right there. So let's instead talk about Charlotte Pudding, who's also got 100% respect for Sanji, even though she literally wanted to kill him at first. Although, not because she hated him, but because of Big Mom's schemes to kill the entire Vinsmoke family. But then, everything changed. When Sanji told her that her third eye was beautiful, it broke her, because no one had ever said that to her before. So yeah, her heart literally melted, and she fell in love with him. Although she tries to hide her feelings for him, every time she's around Sanji, she absolutely loses it. Still, she helped him escape her own family, baked a cake with him to stop Big Mom, and she even kissed him in the end, before erasing his memories. Anyway, she's absolutely in love and definitely got 100% respect for Sanji. And someone else who's also at 100% is Zoro. Yeah, I know it might surprise some of you, especially since Zoro and Sanji can't stop bickering and fighting over literally everything. Hunting, bounty rankings, you name it. And fun fact, if you've noticed, Zoro never calls Sanji by his name. Anyway, despite all that, the respect is real. Like, remember when Sanji called Zoro after his Germa modification started kicking in and literally asked Zoro to kill him if he lost his emotions? Yeah, Zoro said he'd do it, but only after telling him not to die before that. So yeah, they're always at each other's throats, but when it really counts, they've always got each other's backs. And that's true respect right there. Next up, the last Straw Hat we gotta talk about is Nico Robin at 100%. As we all know, Sanji's always flirting with her and tries to get her attention. But unlike Nami, who will punch him for being annoying, Robin's always calm and polite, and she actually appreciates everything he does for her, like cooking for her, making her drinks, and always being a gentleman. And don't forget that Sanji was the first to truly welcome Robin to the crew besides Luffy, because she never forgot that. But her respect for Sanji goes way deeper than just kindness. Because remember when Black Maria mocked Sanji for calling for Robin's help? Well, Robin didn't hesitate to step in and slap Black Maria in the face, and she said that Sanji relying on her meant the world to her, and that Sanji's kind, strong, and worthy of being one of the wings of the Pirate King. Next up, we gotta talk about Zeph, who's also at 100%. Sure, he used to constantly tease him, call him names, and kick him around the kitchen, but it was all just tough love. Zeph saw something special in Sanji from the moment they met. He didn't laugh at his dream of finding the All Blue, and he even saved his life during that storm. Oh, and when they were stranded on that island, Zeph literally gave Sanji all the food, pretended he had some for himself, and ate his own leg to stay alive, just so Sanji wouldn't starve. After being rescued, he taught Sanji everything. How to cook, how to survive, to never hurt a woman, and to always protect a cook's hands. And when Sanji finally left the Baratie to chase his dream, Zeph cried like a proud dad. Moving on, also at 100%, we've got Sanji's sister Reiju. As a kid, Reiju never bullied Sanji like the brothers did. Sure, she laughed along sometimes, but only because she was scared of being punished herself. So deep down, she cared about him a lot. She secretly treated Sanji's wounds when he got hurt, and she was even the one who broke him out of the dungeon and helped him escape the Germa Kingdom, crying as she pushed him away, just hoping he'd find kindness somewhere else. When they then reunited on Whole Cake Island, she later told him he was never a failure, and that their mom would be proud of the man he had become. Even when she thought she was gonna die, she told Sanji to leave her behind because to her, his life mattered more. And when Sanji ended up saving the entire Vinsmoke family, Reiju was genuinely touched, and she realized Sanji's kindness and compassion proved that the Vinsmoke bloodline wasn't all bad. And if anyone tried to hurt her little brother, they'd have to go through her first. Now, we actually got one character left who actually has more than 100% respect for Sanji. Can you guess who it is? Yup, it's none other than Duval, and this guy has infinite respect for Sanji. Yeah, Duval actually used to hate Sanji, as he blamed him for ruining his life because of that awful wanted poster that looked exactly like him. Bounty hunters, marines, everyone was chasing him down because they thought he was Blackleg Sanji. But after Sanji accidentally gave him a glow-up with powerful kicks to the face, everything changed. Duval became handsome, and he immediately started worshipping Sanji like a god. Like he started calling him Young Master, and he even risked his life to protect the Thousand Sunny while the crew was gone during the time skip. So yeah, Duval's easily at infinite respect. But how much do you respect Sanji? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and watch this video next.